Okay, good. We're live. All right. So, full screen. Good. Oh yeah, let me just get my... Sorry, I just have to exit full screen quickly. I just need my coronet. Good. Cool. What's the questions?
Okay, so I need help to model these pieces that are sitting in my seat.
Okay. All right.
Just try to explain it.
I understand. So you've got these shapes that you want to...
I actually want them to be more, now that I think about it.
Okay.
Just to be able to make it to like grid.
All right. Let me show you how you would go about modeling this.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the first thing we'll do... I'm looking at your screen now. Good. Okay. So we want to create some organic shapes in your space. I'm taking it this is your space here. Okay, so in here somewhere. All right, good. Now I'm going to go to... Let's just create a section. I'm going to move this section into this location just so I can see what's going on there. Okay. Now if you go to the view, what I want to maybe do is either set up a reference plane or a work plane in which I can use to work in this zone. Okay. So in this instance, I'm going to set up a reference plane. And I'm going to create an in-place mass. I'm just going to show you how to create these organic shapes to start with. And then I'm going to show you how you can use objects to sit on them. So what do you envisage these things to be? Like a shell, a structure?
Almost, so it's kind of like a wooden piece that's been creates a frame, and in that frame then you just cover it in linen. So it creates like
okay.
Kind of like a basket.
Okay. So this workflow... It does come with pros and cons because you have to enable masses. It's very difficult to create these things, but there is a way that we can create them outside and then pull them in. So I'm going to show you the first method, but the workflow I'm showing you now will apply to that. Okay, so maybe let's just give it a go. So let's go to, I'm going to start with the massing and cycle tool very quickly. I'm going to say mass in place. I'll explain why, because massing in place will give us an organic structure. So let's just call it, hanging. I'm just going to say ceiling for now. You can rename this and change it. Okay, now that I've got that in place, I want to create a reference plane. So this plane will drive how this will work. So I'm creating a reference plane. Okay, your things are off. Why? Reference planes. Okay, we're going to create a reference plane. We need this plane so that we can work on this plane because that's where we're going to do a lot of our 3D modeling. This plane I'm going to rename. Okay, so this I'm going to call this. You have to give this a name, otherwise you can't use them as a work plane. Okay, so let's just call this. Okay, now that we've given it a name, in 3D we can now work with that plane, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to say I have to create a section box in this instance. So let me just finish this. It should allow me to come back in. Oh, no, it won't. So I just have to create a mass quickly so that I can... So let's just go to 3D view. 3D view. Yes, because now we've got a whole lot of stuff that you have to focus on that area. So I have to create a section box, but I can't inside of this, so I'll have to come back. But it's fine. I just want to create some 3D objects very quickly that I can use to come back in again. Okay. So why is the computer jammed? Okay, yeah, this might crash now because I don't know how your computer is. Your computer's just jammed, so let me just give it a couple of seconds.
I think you just change it to interior to hidden line. That's realistic.
So let's just see what happens. Okay, good. Before I go anyway, let me just go back to level 0. Okay, now level 0. I'm just going to create a quick form that I can use to work around. Okay.
You just usually not this well.
No, it's just I'll jump between that view. I would recommend maybe if on your computer, the area that you're focusing on, delete the rest. There's a way that you can get rid of the rest of the model and you can keep just that. It's too much, yeah. So you can always link it back in again as context. So maybe I need to help you guys do that, okay? But keep working this file. It's very easy to retrofit this file going forward, okay? Okay, so this workflow I'm going to show you, it's actually pretty neat because you can create these organic shapes and then you can use a structure to host on it and then, yeah, create a structure from that, okay? Okay, there we go. Good. Okay, there we go. Good. All right, so I'm just going to create a form. Good. And then I'm just going to select the shape and I'm just going to create a solid out of it. Create form. Good. That's all I need for now. That's all I need. So now I can go and say I'm going to make a section box so that I'm working just with this form. And what I'll do is I'm just going to increase this so that I've got a void in which to work. So every time I go to 3D view to put these ceilings in the right place, I don't have too much stuff. So say now I'm just going to work in this zone over here. Just the zone over here.
That will help my computer process. So.
Hey?
Will this help my computer process?
Yes. No, because now you don't have all of that stuff it's trying to render in the view. Okay. So here's my solid.
Change it to hidden line.
No, that's fine for now. We can. And I just want to get underneath the slab because I need the space just underneath the slab. Okay, that's all I need. Okay. Now I can go back in here and go and edit mass in place. Okay. Now what I can do is I'm going to go and set the work plane now to that work plane that I'd set up. Okay, so
I wish I could have Revit on my Mac because the MacBook is so fast with this.
Yeah, you'll need to run parallels, but you can now. The new version of you've got an M1 chip on your machine.
No, I don't. That's why I can't. But apparently there's a Mac version of Revit out now. So.
They're planning it, but you can get parallels. And you can run Revit on your Mac. Okay. But you just have to install Parallels. So that sounds like Christmas already.
No, already.
Yeah, it shouldn't be batting like this. Something's, I can see your machine wants to update, so maybe there's stuff in the background.
I have.
I can see it's still got a thing there.
Close all my tabs.
That's fine for now. Close your tabs. That's correct. Except the one that we're working with now. Don't close the Chrome Remote Desktop. Yeah, close all your tabs. You're pumping your RAM now with all these tabs open. Yeah, you're probably fine. You're running out of RAM now. Yeah, just don't close the Chrome Remote Desktop. Yeah, close all of that. Yeah, close that one as well. Good. Leave. Oh yeah, close those other ones. Yeah.
I'm not bad. Robin's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave that open. That you need to open. Yeah. Okay, good. Yes. Now we're in business. Okay. All right. Good. Now I can double click, get rid of this, delete it. I don't need it anymore. Okay. Now set your work plane, and you're going to set. You'll notice now that my reference plane has that name. Sorry. Set ceiling. Now you can also say show so that you can see the work plane. That's important. Okay. Now, to create an organic type of shape, we're going to go and use reference lines in this instance.
I don't know if connecting it to power.
Yeah, maybe just connect it to power as well. It will help. So, and I'm using the last plug there. Okay, reference planes.
Mine's actually very low. It's working somehow.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, now you must pick reference lines. You're going to select spline, and here you're going to draw in face. Here you're going to say work plane because we've got our work plane seating selected. Now you're going to create a line. This is very rough for the time being. Create one.
Yeah, I just need to know how to do it.
Yeah, enter. Now, once you've created one, you can copy them because you just need these points, and I would maybe use 3 or 4 points along this spline. Okay, now that you've got these in place, what it allows me to do now, I grab all 3 of these. This is just the beginning, but you can make it more complex. Okay, so you're going to keep shift down, and you're going to select all of them together. Shift. Sorry, control. Okay, now you're going to create form. So what it does now, it creates a flat form, but look what happens now. When I start grabbing these grips, it allows me to create a form that I can deform quite a bit. Now you'll see that the shape will start deforming. Grab these ends here. Yeah, then you can drag it back. You can drag this back to there. Now each one of these points actually gives you a grip, and you can start making this, even this one now, I can move this out. It will start creating a rounded shape. You'll see now it's actually creating a very organic shape.
Yeah.
But I would actually go for maybe 2 more grips along this line. Okay. So now, move this out. So now that was my first one. Da-da-da. Okay. So this is my first shape. What this also allows me to do, you can also divide this up. You can start building a structure because technically this is how these things work.
If I want to make it shown, can I show it?
Yeah, so let me just leave this like this because I'm going to show you another. So let's switch off the surface. Let's finish our. Now we've got this organic face, but now we can use this tool. We can use the curtain system tool, and we can select the system and create a system. Now we might just have to edit this system. So here, let's just say duplicate, and we're going to call this a timber structure. Call this, and we're going to call these things fixed distance, and we're going to use a curtain system. We'll use glass, but we can make something that looks like material. These I'm going to make it 500. Then here we can make these things, these mullions. I'm just going to use let's say radius for now. Let's make them all round, just so that we can start seeing what this looks like.
Question. So in Photoshop, it says you scratch this is up when your computer wants.
No, your RAM's run out.
But I also added the external hard drive.
No, that doesn't matter. You've got to tell it where it caches the stuff to. What version are you using?
I said edit preferences and then under scratch disks. I also put the new drive and this.
Okay, I'll have to see what's going on there.
I thought like do my projects.
Just run up to no.
Yeah, give me a second. I will help you now. Okay, they should have created the system. It doesn't want to create system. Why not? Okay, because what it allows you to do, it also allows you to create a so what you could do in this instance is you can use the roof function. Here you can pick a glazing system and then say create roof. So this was another way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I must just change the system. You see what it's trying to do. And let me just change, so edit this glazing roof system. So here you must just change your layout. So fixed distance. Let's just change this to number of spacings. Fixed number. Let's just change this to, make it small. So 150. Okay, it's trying to. We're on the right track. Okay, so it will create the system. You see what it's trying to do? It's trying to create that system, but there's probably a slight little error where it says, I've got a feeling it's got to do with the side edit. Okay, but you see what it's trying to do?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's supposed to create this. Something's not lucky here. Let me just.
Maybe it's too sharp.
Let me just go and say edit mass. These things are tricky. Otherwise, to model these things on their own do take a bit of. So let's just move this, get this more round. You might also need to add a bit more complexity. There's two ways of doing it. So you can do it this way, or you can use this system where you can say, you can divide this into a system, a pattern, like this. Then you can put in little pieces, so you can load in a family. You can actually load in a family that will work with the system as well. So there's that option. That's a bit more complex because now you've got to make quite a complex type of pattern to work with this. So meaning you can use these types of patterns, but you can load in families that will work with this pattern as well. Okay, so that I can show you. So let me just maybe see if we can find something. But we'll play with it until it works, okay? But this is the way you would go about doing it. So we want curtain panels, so curtain by pattern. So these things come in. Yeah, let's just use this one over here, load. So what you can do is you can add them. So now if you see in these pattern systems, it would have loaded that, there we go, glazed. So what it'll do, it'll apply that pattern to the system, which is now glazed, finished. Now we've got a glazed pattern system, but you can add that structure to it. Okay, so, but this is where the complexity, let me just explain this and I'll show you how to create it roughly. Okay, so if you go to this family, it loads it into your families here. Okay, so if you go to curtain panels, go and edit. This is very strange how this works. Okay, you need these nodes to fill up your pattern, but I can run an extrusion along these edges here with the structure, then it'll actually build that structure for me. Okay, so I can run an extrusion. So if I press tab, you'll notice it'll allow me to create a, okay, so you can extrude stuff along these. This is all it's doing. Okay, so it's making these, but you can get very complex ones with that has windows. Okay, let's just say load into project. But we can remove the pattern for the time being. I just want to get the glass working. But at any point, what's neat about the system is if I move this down, guess what? The whole system changes. Okay, you see that? So I'm just going to select this and let's try and get the thing to work. Let's say switch off surface pattern, so there's none. Yeah, switch off component pattern, switch that off and switch this off as well. There we go. Finish. It's just got to do with these edges. You can make it a complete closed loop as well, but let's just see if this will work now. Architecture, curtain panel system. No, that doesn't want to. So I know that the roof structure works the best usually.
She grew it from the other one. She literally held the other one next to it and then she grew that one.
So I want to just see why this thing won't. Maximum spacing, make this 200.
Do you know what the
Control C, Control V, Control.
Whatever this is,
So why not? It's doing it, but then it's something is, let me just expand. Some of the kernel panels are slightly misformed. Some of the panels are slightly misformed. Because what's weird is if I used a solid, it will create it. No, man. Let me just try this again.
Maybe the shape is just too funny.
It should. It should. It should. It should. It should. Why are you being so rubbish? Because you can make these. You can actually make sweeps that follow this now as well, and model this organically. Let me just quickly delete this. So let's just get these guys again. Okay. Okay, let me just do this rather. Delete that. Delete that. This one, I'm just going to delete this again, and I'm going to add some more again, but with a bit more complexity. So spline, reference plane, spline, associated. Remember, work on this ceiling. Sure. Top view.
Computer's feeling it.
Yeah, this computer's really battling. Yeah. I'll need to see why it's battling this much. But anyway, so let's just grab 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter. Let's add a bit more complexity. Go to top view. Okay, these you can line up with each other. You can actually snap them, get them aligned. Okay, so you can get these things, but you can use a grid system, get these aligned. But remember, this is organic. Okay. There is another way I can show you guys how to bring these things in. Maybe I must do that as well. That's not as complex as this. Copy. Because like Blender and that, you could do this like snap, 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 and then it builds a structure.
Alexis said she used SketchUp warehouse.
Yeah. Because mathematically now,
if I make it in SketchUp and import it to Revit,
hey,
if I make it in SketchUp,
you could. Okay, but let's just see how this. So let's just see. Let me just quickly do this a bit. Now that we've got some more complexity to this, so you can drag these guys. These two you can now drag out. So grab this one. You'll see that this will start working a bit better now. Now that we've got a bit more complexity. Okay, now go to 3D view. But you get the idea.
yeah.
So you use reference planes, you link them onto a...
This is fine. I understand this whole time.
Yeah, now, let's just see. Okay, now, finish. Now that we got this shape, now let's just create our roof. Let me just try the curtain wall system first. Now it's doing it. Okay, let me just try the... Now it works.
That's that sheet, that's solid.
Yeah, so this is exactly what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, but now you must just change it to this guy. This should work now. Sure.
Working with the glazing.
Yeah, it's working with this stuff. So what you might have to do is apply a pattern to this.
to make it look. Because at the end, it is going to be solid. So that's not. I don't
Yeah.
think, I just want to be able to see that structure.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's... So the only other way you can do this is then apply the structure within the mask, because then it builds it perfectly, because it uses that...
Yeah. Like what you showed me.
Yeah.
So how do I do that again? Sorry.
Yeah, so you go and say edit the mass in place. So you edit the mass in place, so you go edit in place mass. I can actually show you how to build these things. I'll give you a video where they actually do this. What it does is when it divides this grid, you can enable these nodes. You see these little nodes here?
Yeah.
Then what you do is you go and find insert let's see, load family. Maybe you've got the UK library installed. No, you don't. Okay. Because there's actually better ones. Let me just see if I can find some better ones. They've actually got structures built into them. But I can maybe edit one of these quickly to show you how that does work. Right. I'll quickly create a little extrusion around to show you how this works. Okay. Okay, now, pattern. But now you've got to enable masses in those views. So what this has done now is created that exact, and it creates the shape for you. Okay, can you see it's actually done that? Okay, so now that shape, if you go and find this in your, let's go and say modify, so let's just say edit. Now, actually, there is a sweep happening along here. So let me just go and create a sweep quickly, and I'll show you exactly how that's rectangle. So now you must just pick a work plane. So now you've got a tab. So reference plane, pick. So now you've got to pick a work plane. So let's just say that work plane there. And I'm just going to draw a very basic structure. Just make sure it's not massive, otherwise this causes issues. That's fine. Now, grab that, and then you're going to use the... See what it does? It actually creates a shape round, but watch this. Load into project. It's actually, if you know how to use this properly, it's actually amazing what this can do. If you understand how this works, you can make some seriously... Oh, man. Oh, why didn't it do that?
Maybe the
It was supposed to create... Let me just go and edit that family quickly. It's supposed to. It might just be the size of this frame. Because now it's feet and inches. Because it's very small. We're actually working with something... Just say continue for me. Additional settings. Sorry, units. Project units. So now let's just tab this guy. Sorry, let me just tab this edge. There we go. Yeah, I see that's way too big. Way too big. So this guy, tab, this has to be small, very small. So this will have to be sized, and you can make parameters that work with this. Okay, so you can assign parameters. I'm just going to make this small enough for it to work. And I should have made that a reference plane so that I could maybe scale it later. There's a whole lot of tutorials on how to do this stuff, okay?
Yeah, I will definitely go into this. Like, I just needed to know like the concept behind that.
Yeah, if that shape gets too big, it won't work. You need it small enough so that it works with this pattern. No, it's still too big. So the family breaks, but in essence, you can see that this has made that solid. So let me just finish this and show you what the outcome looks like. So let's delete the ceiling. because now you'll see that it'll have, and you can give that glazing panel a thickness. So now you can see it actually gives you that look in the space. But now the only catch here is this system needs to show up, and you'll need to enable your master so you can see the structure. And then, okay, let me just go and edit in place. Let me just show you this last little. So let's just grab that pattern system. So let's go rectangle, modify, edit, and let's get rid of. Yeah, so this will need to be smaller. You'll have to work out exactly how big that will need to be. Yeah, but you'll see, take a good guess on how these things would be. I just want to make sure that the surface has actually got some thickness. So let me just, so now that I've got it positive, let's make this 15 and make it negative 15. Sorry, let me do that again. Not bad. So let's just do that. So it must be 10 and then minus 10. Okay, now we've got a thickness. We've given it a thickness in essence. Okay, so we've given it negative offset. Oh, wait. Should make it a thick. There we go. So 10, 10. You see it's given it a thickness. Load into project. You'll notice now that this will become a, it will actually give it some thickness. So the system breaks the whole time. That is interesting. Oh, there it's worked. Oops. That's why your machine needs to update. It probably would have worked. I might have had to use the refresh button. I might have had to. So maybe that system was working with the.
I have tried to do all of that stuff. It never worked.
Okay, but you see now it's made that structure nice and thick for me. But now the only catch with this workflow is that you've got to use, but you could use SketchUp and you can create subs, but Blender would do that quicker, in my opinion. You could go and create sweeps using these structures. You could create the structures using a whole series of reference planes and then create those.
Okay.
But then you're going to spend hours modeling. This is the quickest way, but you can see it'll give you, and what I like about this guy now is if you tab, if you select those points, if you go to wireframe, if you select these nodes now, this thing it's always live. So if you pull that up, guess what? The whole system moves with it. Give it a couple seconds. You'll see now that it'll create a. Now, one last little trick to update the system. You see here this fixed distance. You can change it to fixed distance or you say numbers. So here if you went to 15, you'll notice that it'll get more complex. But now this is where the size of that extrusion becomes important that goes around. They make crazy things like this, okay?
I want to actually do really big pieces and my not much smaller.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's breaking this pattern into, you'll see now it'll be more complex. Okay, so you can go to town and you can build a frame around this. You can build frames to run around this. Yeah. So let's do one last little test, but I'll make the frame very small. Okay, so let's just create, I'm going to use a reference plane for this and it'll be a rectangle. I'm going to say pick plane. You want to use the reference line planes rather, that. Here I'm going to create a very small, so this is, because what I like about this is you can govern these things lengths from, so let's just make this tiny. So let's grab this and then grab this guy over here and just say create form. The reason why I like to do it like this is because this thing I can now adjust the whole system. And you can make this work with parameters, okay? I'm going to make this quite small. So say now, that was my timber frame sitting above. This should work now. It's going to be a bit complex, but it should work.
Let's hope it doesn't break.
You can actually make some seriously crazy stuff using this technique. Like, literally.
I5, that should be fine.
Okay, this is working, but we must just... Yeah, just give it a second. It's trying. Yeah, wait. Watch this. No, man. I bet you if I did this on my machine, it will do it. Let me just go to... Let's edit form. That's the strangest thing. It's supposed to do exactly what we're telling it to do here. It's supposed to create that extrusion.
Maybe I'll just try it when it's not on the remote desktop. Maybe that's just...
Okay. It's, yeah, this thing's supposed, because there's the form. It's created the form, but it's supposed to show the form. Let me just modify. It's supposed to close. Let me just go. Sometimes if you go into another view and then you go back in, then it works. I've got a feeling that your machine's maybe just...
Well, the fan is... Oh, it is.
I think it's going to work now. Well, your machine's about to explode.
This little like reload icon has been there for ages, and I've done it off, and I've turned it off, and I put it back on. It's just not.
Let's just see now. Oh, there it did.
Ah, there we go.
There we go.
Just needed some time.
Yeah, I just needed a bit of... Check at that. Look how complex that is now. You've actually built... And that wasn't... It didn't take me long.
Yeah, how cool that is.
Quick. Okay, but yeah, your machine is a little... but you see, now it's created the whole...
Do these parts
in the lab, get them built in and then render them out. But now you can see that this is super complex.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's like this is like the showstopper part of my design, so I kind of need this to work.
And you need it to look like this. You need it to work like this. Now you can see these things join. Look, they never really join together perfectly, but that is the result. Because if you go and model this thing perfectly, guess how long it's going to take you.
Yeah, I don't have.
But for what you're trying to demonstrate,
It just needs to look right.
yeah. And what I like about this, each one of these panels is a panel. If you check this out, it's actually a panel. Now, let me just hide the masses in the view. Let's go to VG, because what's cool about this now, if you go and hide the mass, this will work. If I hide the mass now, it keeps the system stays in place.
Okay, but
And you see the system correctly.
okay.
But now you can see, here's your little timber frame above. Look, there is going to be little glitches when it reaches this.
But for now, this is enough. Okay.
But if you had to go and model this in place, yeah, so if you create a better form, it will start working better. But you can see this does work.
No, I think
Okay.
this is just perfect. This is. I really just don't have the time to go and model. So
You can then export this out and then cut out pieces. This is tricky. You can export this to format now. Then in format, you can break away these pieces and cut away, bring it back in. Okay, but leave it there part of the column. You'll just have to find a way to separate that stuff around from the column. But you can punch a hole in that face using an extrusion or a void extrusion.
okay, I'll just.
Okay, all right. But cool, that actually works.
Okay, help me. Okay, by Friday then I'll have a lot more.
Try this. There's a lot of videos you go and look for. You say in place, and it's curtain panels by pattern. So curtain wall panels, and there's a whole lot of videos how these guys make these things.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
thanks so much.
Cool.
Rob's doing it.